From time to time, I like to follow a single book of the Bible for these devotionals. Since I haven't done this in a little while, it seems like a good time with summer upon us to do exactly that. For those of you who follow the daily lectionary, the epistle readings for today and the next couple of weeks come from what I would argue is Paul's least read letter, 2 Corinthians. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas. And this is your daily devotional for Tuesday, May 27th, 2025. Paul's relationship with the Corinthian congregation was strained at best. I often secretly chuckle at some of Paul's words and his descriptions of the troubles in that church, for it sounds remarkably contemporary. Factions were rampant. Different groups maintained loyalties to different leaders. If they were Presbyterian, they would have split the congregation, and one group would have started or joined a new denomination. Read 1 Corinthians from beginning to end at some point with these conflicts in mind, and Paul's words, especially on love, take on a whole new meaning. 2 Corinthians may or may not have been Paul's second actual letter to the church in Corinth. Probably it wasn't. There may have been other letters that we simply don't know about. It is clear, though, that 2 Corinthians came later than 1 Corinthians, and even 1 Corinthians was not his first letter to them, for in 1 Corinthians 5, verses 9 through 11, he writes, "I wrote to you in my letter, past tense, not to associate with sexually immoral persons, nor at all meaning the immoral of the world, or the greedy and robbers, or idolaters, since you would need to go out of the world. But now I am writing to you, present tense, not to associate with anyone who bears the name of brother or sister who is sexually immoral or greedy, or is an idolater, reviler, drunkard, or robber." This points to an interesting problem with the Corinthian letters. We don't have every letter he wrote to them. Worse still, he refers to letters that he has received from them, but we simply do not have them. So, piecing together Paul's relationship with the Corinthians is like trying to piece together a jigsaw puzzle, many of whose pieces are missing, and where even the box the puzzle came in is missing, leaving us without a complete picture to work from. Now, as for 2 Corinthians, let me read a portion of chapter 1 and see if you can pick up on a theme. Paul writes, "Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies and the God of all consolation, who consoles us in all our affliction, so that we may be able to console those who are in any affliction with the consolation with which we ourselves are consoled by God. For just as the sufferings of Christ are abundant for us, so also our consolation is abundant through Christ. If we are being afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation. If we are being consoled, it is for your consolation, which you experience when you patiently endure the same sufferings that we also are suffering. Our hope for you is unshaken, for we know that as you share in our sufferings, so also you share in our consolation." Did you pick up on the theme? If you said consolation, go to the head of the class. This word appears about 50 or so times in the New Testament, and fully a third of those instances are in 2 Corinthians. Why consolation? Because there is suffering. Call it suffering or affliction. It is a reality of human existence. But Paul here is probably not talking about the common human afflictions. While he doesn't mention the source and nature of the sufferings facing the Corinthians, remember that we don't have a complete compendium of the correspondence between Paul and the Corinthians, leaving us to guess in some cases about the exact context of Paul's words. We are probably safe in saying that he is referring to the reality of suffering for the faith. And even that suffering can be from so many sources, but from outside the church, both from outside the church and from within the church. What is important, though, is not to guess about the source of their suffering, but rather the source of comfort, of consolation. And even more important is the need to focus not so much on one's suffering, but on the source of one's comfort, which is the grace and mercy of God in Jesus Christ. Whatever sufferings we face, we know that Christ faced worse in his crucifixion and death. This is an important idea. Without in any way minimizing the reality of suffering, Paul urges the Corinthians and us to focus on this source of consolation. Why? Focusing on our suffering brings bitterness. Focusing on our comfort and consolation brings gratitude and a certain release from our suffering. It removes from the source of our suffering its power over us. Want to take away the power of the oppressor? While we should always seek justice, we can also turn our hearts from anger, which eats us from the inside out, to gratitude, which strengthens us and gives us victory over our tormentors. Want to live a larger, more whole and blessed life? Focus on the one who knows our suffering better than we ourselves and who provides all the comfort we ever need. Tomorrow, Paul's own anguish over his strained relationship with the Corinthians. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.